Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show, our little behind the show. Hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. Ben, my co-host, is having a little difficulty getting on tonight for some reason, technical difficulties. Hopefully the technology gods will smile upon him and he'll be joining us in a few minutes. In the meantime, in the second hour,
1 minute until showtime,
we'll be doing computer and technology news brought to you by SlimWare Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. In the first hour, independent security evaluators. Mr. Ted Harrington is going to be joining us. He is an executive partner for them. We're going to be talking about what they do and security and how that affects you, the consumer. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as we begin 2 hours of Computer America. "30 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live. It's America's on computers. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
The Computer America Show is brought to you by Bell Ringers. It's newer than news when you're right there as it first debuts. Visit our sponsor's website at bellringersmedia.com. Hello and welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And Ben, how are you? Welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show. We got a great program. Hopefully all of you had a wonderful weekend. You had a nice weekend, Ben?
Yeah, of what I can remember of it.
Okay, it was that good. Okay. Well, as I said, it is Monday, and we have a terrific show planned for you. In the second hour, we're going to be doing computer and technology news. That's brought to you by SlimWare Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to talk to a gentleman who is with a company called Independent Security Evaluators. So you want to guess what they're all about? Security. But yeah, exactly. Mr. Ted Harrington is
balloon animals for children's parties.
Yes, balloon animals. That's it. Yeah, he'll be joining us in a few minutes here on the program, and he's going to be talking about what they do and how that affects you, the consumer. Okay. Now, let me just say, let me get this out of the way. If you have a comment or question for our guest tonight or for anything, we certainly love to hear from you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. That'll get you on and get you through. Okay. We also have our live interactive chat room from our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. You'll see the second in the menu. It says Show Lounge/chat. If you hover over that, you'll have the option of doing a full screen chat. But if you just click on it normally, two things will happen. First of all, you'll see our chat room in the left-hand side of the screen, and it'll say "Wanna Chat," and so put in your name or username. That's the name you'll be known by when you go in there, and you'll be joining us in the Computer America chat room. We'd love to see you in there. It's always a lot of fun in the chat room. A lot of crazy people go in there, and we all have a lot of fun in the Computer America chat room. We certainly welcome you into the thing. And then,
well, a lot of nice people. I think the crazy people don't get there until about Craig shows up.
Oh, okay. Well, just at least one crazy person.
There you go.
There you go. And then the other thing that will happen when you do that is that the live Computer America video stream will automatically begin. Since we are now live. If you went there early, it would have a little countdown timer, but when you go in there, it will automatically start. Yes, we are a radio talk show, but guess what? We also have live video streaming of our radio program. That means you can see myself. You can see Ben, my co-host. Sometimes you can see the guests. Certainly, Ben has the technology to display websites and all the relative videos and movies, what have you, in the background, so he can display what we're talking about. So he's truly interactive, and making the Computer America experience a truly interactive experience. So these are all the different things that we bring to you, our listeners at Computer America, and we hope that you partake of them. It just makes the experience a richer, fuller one, and more engrossing and entertaining, hopefully. Okay, well, that said, anything else that you'd like to mention? I know the weekend was upon us. I know you had some weekend projects. You got a lot of things done, I know. And anything you want to mention before we get started?
No, we're gonna have a couple good stories in the second hour. A very very sad one that I'm sure we're gonna cover in more detail tomorrow night during our Gamer Tuesday. So stick around for that. But no, just a lot of great, a lot of interesting things have been happening in the news lately. So I really can't wait for that one in the second hour.
All right. All right, well, let's bring our guest on. The name of the company is Independent Security Evaluators, and they are an independent security firm in Baltimore dedicated to aggressive defense strategies through advanced science. Sounds interesting. Now, their elite team of analysts and developers use scientific approaches to improve their clients' overall security posture, protect digital assets, harden existing technologies, secure infrastructures, and work with development teams to ensure product security before deployment. Now, here with us to discuss what they do, and maybe what some of that all meant, and how you, the consumer, can benefit from their efforts is Ted Harrington, Executive Partner for Independent Security Evaluators. Ted, welcome into the Computer America Show. How are you, sir?
I'm great, guys. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. So, okay, it was a mouthful in my introduction, so why don't you just take a moment and explain to our listeners, basically what you guys are all about and what you do.
Sure. Yeah, the best way to think about us is we're like the good guy hackers. Companies hire us to help them by looking at their systems from the perspective of the way that a malicious hacker would, so that we can find the weaknesses in those systems and help them remove those weaknesses before a bad guy does it out in the wild.
Okay, makes sense. So you're really into this these conventions that are out there, the Black Hat and DEF CON. I mean, do you go to those things or to see what's going on, those types of conventions?
Sure, absolutely. Our entire company was actually founded out of research, which is really what conventions like Black Hat and DEF CON are all about. And when we were founded in 2005 out of the PhD program at Johns Hopkins, what we wanted to do was to look at the Texas Instruments DST-40, which is an RFID protocol. And it's really relevant to consumers, this particular system, because what it does is it powers a couple of really important use cases. It powers the immobilizer function for automobile keys. So the idea is you stick your key in the ignition, there's a physical turnover of the ignition, and then there's also an electronic relay between the onboard computer and the key determining, is this the authentic key? And it's to prevent something like when you drop your car off at the valet goes and gets the key copied at the hardware store while you're at dinner, and then can later come and steal your car or get in and hurt you or steal your stuff.
Well, he can't really do that though with electronic keys, right? I mean, the old-fashioned keys, yes, you can maybe can make a copy with a with a key grinder or something, but you can't do that today with modern electronic keys, correct?
That's exactly what this system was supposed to do, was to prevent that by having that onboard communication between the computer on the vehicle and the key to say, if this is not the authentic key, the computer will disable the ignition. And so we actually we set out to study whether or not that system could be defeated. And it took about 3 weeks to reverse engineer the cryptographic algorithm and a few more weeks to build a non-functioning prototype. And then a few weeks later, we were proving concept by actually starting a Ford Focus with a completely reverse engineered key.
Well, Now, that's a lot. Obviously, you guys know what you're doing, and I would think that the average guy who's going to try to steal a car doesn't have 2 or 3 weeks. He's got the evening, maybe a few hours, at best for the valet. So,
Well, I mean, it's something like this. Are you like, would this work on more than one car, or is this, a couple months of development to break into that one Ford Focus?
It worked across the entire, at the time, this was 10 years ago, I don't think this attack works anymore, but it worked across the entire Ford family and everywhere else that this was a Texas Instruments solution, everywhere else that it was deployed.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense. Then once you broke it, then it would work for all the different cars. That's not good. Today's, don't they? Isn't it on a car by car basis though? Things are a lot different today than when that happened.
Cars are definitely a lot different today than they were 10 years ago. But in terms of how to attack them, actually, there's pretty significant advances in terms of risk that has to do with connected cars. As I'm sure you know now, many cars are connected by Wi-Fi. And there are ways now to remotely attack cars and take over the power steering and power control systems.
I heard about that. That was in Vegas. They were doing. They actually had a demonstration of that, where they were taking over a car, and they said they could do it. I think it was a proof of concept, and they said they could actually take over the steering of the car. They actually did that.
Yep. That's actually at Black Hat this year. There'll be a demo, and there's been a few demos in the past few months about how it can be done remotely.
But no one's done it yet. It's just proof of concept, right?
I would not consider that not someone doing it. I mean, that is definitely someone doing it, but if your question is there an example of someone doing that to cause harm and hurt someone, that has not, that we know of, happened yet.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of your job in your ilk, is to do these kinds of things and show how you did it, so that at the end of the day, the first person realizing that this is possible isn't the person that wants to wreck someone, isn't the person that isn't going to hold this for ransom. It's contractors like security contractors like yourself who are going to find these things, show step by step how you did it, and then hopefully make things safer by finding these flaws.
That's exactly the point of security research, is to find the issues before the bad guys do.
Okay, and certainly that is important. So. All right, so this was an example of what you did, and you do at Independent Security Evaluators. This is, although the Black Hat was where you did this. So basically, you go and try to find entry points into secure locations or hardware. Is that basically what you do? It was like I think called penetration testing and that type of thing. Is that what you do?
So there's two sides of what we do. One is the security research, which is along the lines of where I talked about with the car immobilizers, where we went out and just looked at a technology issue and tried to advocate change. But how we actually make money, our core business is a consulting practice where it's the same idea, but the companies are hiring us directly. And basically what we're doing is identifying whatever it is that company cares about. Is their digital asset a given type of, customer information? Or is it credit card numbers, or whatever it is? In the case of the movie business, it's movies that are made before they've actually hit the theater. And so then we look at their systems from the perspective of what would it take an adversary to break in and steal this asset.
Okay. And what happens when what kind of results do you get when you do that? I mean, this is how you make money. This is what you offer the client.
Right. So yeah. So what we're doing is we're investigating to find those vulnerabilities and then articulate to the customer how to mitigate those particular vulnerabilities so that the issues are reduced.
Okay. So, and for someone who's founded this company back in 2005, over the past decade, I mean, that's longer than I think most people have even been thinking about security. Have things gotten harder or easier since the whole Internet of Things has popped up? Because nowadays, really, almost everything is already connected, and if not soon, then everything is going to be connected one day. So, is security following the trends?
there's sort of two questions in there, and they have different answers. So in the last 10 years, a lot has changed from the perspective of organizations at least becoming more aware of security issues. You're right, 10 years ago, people didn't even quite understand what this business that we do now is. Of course, in the past probably 24 months, mainstream media has completely caught hold of that this is a very real issue that affects very large companies and affects a very large number of consumers. The other part of your question, though, was as it pertains to Internet of Things.
Mm-hmm.
And in a certain way, Internet of Things in the immediate short term is taking us a step back from a security standpoint. Because many of these devices are being rolled out to deliver functionality quickly, but without the proper consideration of the security implications.
Yeah, it's. I think we've run into this on the show before because there, maybe at the start it was, people don't want to jump through a hoop to set up security for their connected light bulb, or or maybe even manufacturers had that mentality of, well, who's going to hack into a crock pot? But at the end of the day, this crock pot and the light bulb, they may not be the end target. Like these are like you're allowing further access into your network, right?
That's exactly it. And actually, the light bulb example is one that we use pretty frequently because the truth is, who really cares if someone hacked your light bulb, right? If maybe they could acquire some data about how what are your usage patterns in a given room. They might even be able to annoy you and turn your light on or off. But really, what's the scope of that problem? Well, that's not the real problem with things like connected light bulbs. It's that they're very easy to break into some of these devices that have much lower security controls, and then the adversary can use that as a pivot to attack everything else that connects to the same network and compromise those assets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this all has to do with what you call the IoT village, the Internet of Things village.
Yeah, the IoT village is a brand new concept that our organization is rolling out. DEF CON is one of the preeminent security conferences in the world, and we ran last year a contest called So Hopelessly Broken, which was the first ever router hacking contest at DEF CON, and it performed very, very well. There was a lot of great research that came out of it, and so DEF CON came back to us, and we talked about, well, how can we expand the concept of just routers, which are obviously an important aspect of Internet of Things, and look at all different types of connected devices. And so we're creating this inaugural event, which will have workshops and hacking contests and presentations by security thought leaders. And what we're trying to do is to really shine a spotlight on the security issues that are introduced by connected devices and advocate for improvement in this very critical area that's going to absolutely explode over the next few years in terms of customer adoption.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem that we've kind of been following, but this security, I mean, does it need to come from, or at least this is your opinion, does that need to come from the manufacturer standpoint, or does that need to come from the end user that who has to set all this kind of stuff up? Because it makes sense to secure a router, but making one of these two parties cough up the time and the energy and the resources to further lock down a light bulb, a outlet, a what have you, it's that seems like a struggle.
It is a struggle, although make no doubt about it, the responsibility for security of these devices lies on the manufacturer. I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation for a consumer to expect that when they acquire a particular device, that it meets a certain threshold of protecting their own privacy and security concerns. And the truth of the matter is the average consumer doesn't have the technical wherewithal to effectively secure the device anyway, even if they had the opportunity to. So the way that the consumer can really influence the solution on this problem is really voting with their dollars. And right now, the consumer unwittingly is voting for lack of security controls because there is such enthusiasm for connected devices. Because make note about it, connected devices deliver really, really cool benefits to the consumer. But what the businesses are seeing is people are paying for this. They're not seeing people back off because of security concerns. So until the consumer has a voice to stand up and say, hey guys, this is important to us, this will probably continue for a little while.
Yeah, it just seems like that consumers are so reactionary in their security, measures. Like it seems like you have to wait until the big story hits, the mainstream media, where it says, so and so was, hacked and all their billing information was stolen because they didn't secure, so and so device. And like those stories, they make the rounds, and then I think like it happened enough with routers and people's Wi-Fi that you know 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago you could walk around and find unsecure Wi-Fi all over the place. Nowadays, it may not be the strongest of passwords, but at least almost every single one has a password to it. So it's do you think it's just a matter of time before these devices become secure?
I think that with any technology migration, eventually the manufacturing community starts adopting secure design principles. And so I do want to believe that in enough time, it might take several years, but in enough time these will probably be in better shape. But right now, any consumer adopting a connected device should be very aware of the risk that they're potentially taking on.
So is that what you're trying to accomplish by making this Internet of Things village at Black Hat?
What we're trying to do, yes. So what we're trying to do is galvanize the research community around identifying and solving some of these problems so that we can help collaborate with the manufacturing community about how to deliver products to the consumer that is up to that acceptable threshold of security.
That makes perfect sense. It's like it's an issue that we've been talking about for a while, but I think it really hasn't caught up with people. Like where do you think people are going to first start seeing this? Because connected devices, everyone has a smartphone now, everyone has a computer, but where do you think this is going to start becoming an issue with which devices?
Well, I think probably to the consumer, the most catastrophic areas of risk are going to be in things like the delivery of healthcare. So connected medical equipment, including implanted medical devices, drug refrigeration equipment, drug delivery pumps. There's a tremendous amount of equipment in the healthcare space that is connected and is very poorly secured. Many of those devices have hard-coded passwords or default passwords that are by recommendation from the manufacturer not to be changed. And if you can manipulate the dosage to a patient, or you could manipulate a record that suggests that they're not allergic to some drug that they are allergic to, or you could disconnect a life-sustaining piece of equipment in the middle of a very critical operation. Things like that, they could really result in a fatality. So that's probably the most critical area, followed immediately by delivery of critical infrastructure. So, and this is the critical infrastructure piece is probably where the largest growth in IoT is going to happen in the next 5 years, according to various experts. And there's all kinds of connectivity to things about delivery of water, delivery of power, and even things like your traffic control systems. And if those can be manipulated and they could result in chaos, panic, things like that, could be very problematic.
I mean, this is the stuff that we've seen in movies now since the late '90s. Let's hack into the city grid and we'll take over the traffic lights, and so we can rob a bank, and the police can't follow us because we keep turning the lights red, and we have it green all the way for us. I mean, there's been movies, we see this time and time again, and people, and it's the stuff of fiction, and now really it's no longer fiction. It is stuff of the highly probable, is what you're saying.
Yes. Absolutely.
People coming into this, they're not going to realize just how behind the scenes, because big data was, kind of the predecessor to this, where you put sensors on everything and you can start collecting information that I think a lot of people thought, why are you collecting that? Why do you need that data? Why do you do this? But in the next 10, 15 years, that kind of data is going to keep food in the grocery stores faster. It's going to keep traffic jams to a minimum. Like, all that data is going to go somewhere. So I guess the advancement to smart devices, Internet of Things, and not just your everyday life, but for everything around you. Like, that's only going to increase. Like, everything's going to be connected to the internet one day.
That it will.
Yeah.
We're absolutely on that path, and it makes sense. I mean, if you look at it from a business benefit, from the standpoint of a consumer benefit, I mean, connected devices, they really do some great stuff. They improve the consumer experience. They improve data analytics. They improve the delivery of services from businesses to other businesses and to consumers. And when you look at those kinds of revolutions in terms of what technology can deliver, these things have absolute tangible value. And for that reason, everything's going to start getting connected. Now, whether or not everything gets connected, who knows about that, but this is a trend that is absolutely in motion and is not going to reverse anytime soon.
Yeah, the benefits are, there's so many benefits, but I guess the only drawback is you guys start focusing on security. You never thought that you'd have to secure, a water pipe before, from hackers, but I guess that's where you guys come in.
Yeah, I mean, my recommendation to anyone who has the possibility to make such a choice, I would probably use more of the analog version of things for a little while, until the security community has enough chance to help the manufacturing community adopt and implement these secure design principles in a way that is effective. Some companies are producing products that have security built in from the ground up, and some are the other end of the spectrum, where it was an analog product for decades, and now they just put on some sort of radio to connect it. And you're going to have security concerns in both situations.
Well, what should consumers do at this point, or is there anything that they really can do? You said go analog. I mean, are there any other considerations that they might want to, that our listeners might want to think about?
I think that consumers should understand risk. They should, when you're about to buy and deploy any type of connected device, you should acknowledge what comes with it in the event of compromise. So, for instance, I wear a connected smart tracker, and I've made that choice because, to me, the trade-off of improvement to have my own ability to analyze what I'm doing from a fitness perspective, that is worthwhile. But I also accept that every time I'm wearing it, there's information that a company is now aggregating that someone could get. And so I'm willing to make that trade-off. To me, that's worthwhile. But people should really think about all of the things that you're connecting. What could they possibly lead to each other? So if you use something like network attached storage, and in your network attached storage, you're keeping things like your tax returns or your any sort of medical records. Those are the kinds of things that hackers most want from the individual consumer. And so if you have those living on the same network where any connected device is, you're introducing new vantage points that an attacker can possibly get to that asset. So you want to think logically about, from the perspective of assumption of malice, what is the worst case scenario that happens, and am I willing to accept that given the benefit that I'll get as a trade-off?
Yeah, and like it's kind of hard to think that, though, when you're just an average person who, maybe you want to keep it on a NAS device, and you think it's secure, but it's kind of hard for the everyday person to kind of say, well, my router's secure, I have a password on my hard drive, I'm all good there, but then I gave permission to my printer. Someone spoofed my printer. Now they have access to everything. Like it's hard for people to follow the the trail that's going to lead them to being compromised. Like is it just for the moment, if you don't want it to be compromised in any way, better to keep it offline, like not connected?
Well, certainly your most safe scenario is going to be not being connected. We always say that in the security community, there's a well-known premise that no system is completely 100% bulletproof. It doesn't exist. You can't make a system that no hacker can ever get into. But then we counter that with saying, well, there is one type of system you could, and that is a system that you unplug, you put in a closet, you bury that closet in concrete, and then you take that concrete block and you put it at the bottom of the ocean. No hacker is probably going to get in that one, but they maybe still could. So
I'll tell you what, Ted, we're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to take a little break, and let's continue on with the computer system that's in concrete at the bottom of the ocean, and how they would even be able to get into that. I'm kind of curious. This is the Computer America Show. Ben and I are talking to Ted Harrington. He's Executive Partner for Independent Security Evaluators. 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. We're going to have a break for some commercials. We have a brand new News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up here on Computer America. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Yeah, I'd settle for a solar-powered lawn. Hey, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the new Wisdom 3-coil wireless charging stand. We've seen lots of little handset easel stands that are nothing but holders, and several with micro USB base plugs to charge phones while holding them. But the new Wisdom 3-coil wireless charging stand is the first we've seen that can keep our Galaxy S6 charged with no wear and tear on its plug. How much do you like the idea of not needing two hands just to get your phone to charge? You power the stand through a micro USB socket on the back of its base with max 1.5 amps. The handset rests on a long bump out near the bottom of the easel back, where there's also a built-in charge status light. That easel back has 3 coils built in, so the exact positioning of a handset, or the inductive charging coils within a handset, is less critical and more forgiving. The unit specs suggest a handset charging inductive speed of just over 1 amp. We have no way to test for that, but that's a good nominal rate when you're not in a hurry. Bottom line, when you have a handset that can handle inductive charging, The new Wisdom 3-coil wireless charging stand gives you a way to both rest and recharge your phone with just one hand. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Here, 33 minutes past the hour. And by the way, that was Marty Winston with a News Tip Bulletin Review. That one and a new one next hour as well, all week.
Mm-hmm. 3 coils he was talking about.
3 coils, who knew? So, but right now in the first hour here, we're talking to Ted Harrington. He is the executive partner over at Independent Security Evaluators, and we're talking about the Internet of Things, security, so on and so forth, and something about a concrete box. There's no system that is completely 100%. Just like there's nothing that's foolproof. They're always making better fools. There's nothing that is hacker-proof because, again, leave a hacker alone long enough, he'll figure out a way to get in. That's kind of their deal. So, and security is so important to people. But you mentioned something there where you actually wear a fitness tracker, and a fitness tracker, it definitely has security measures on it, but at the same time, it's supposed to be private yet not private. Like it does, kind of like the company that owns it. I believe they actually, kind of collect everyone's fitness data for, different purposes. So between privacy and security, they're both very important, but I think they could get at odds to each other because, companies want that data, but you don't want your data, being taken. So what's the difference between the two, and how can they kind of coexist?
Right. So privacy. There are many technical ways to describe the difference between privacy and security. And the way that I like to simplify it is, privacy is about the ability to choose what data you want to share. And security is about the ability to protect assets. So in the case of connected devices, and if we're talking about connected fitness trackers in particular, there's a great example of where just by nature of using it, you are accepting that you are acquiescing the privacy of that data, because it's somewhere in the terms and conditions that you agree to when you use this product that the company will use that data, they'll analyze it, they're going to, for whatever purposes that they want to use your personal health tracking data. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little bit different from someone circumventing security controls to access it. Now, there should be security controls in place at the data center where all this data that's coming from my wrist is transmitting back to the manufacturer, but those are sort of the two distinctions between the two.
Okay.
All right. So there's data, and that can be private data where they take your name off everything, because I think that's what a lot of people are worried about. But I think companies are have struck an uneasy alliance with people where they're like, okay, we'll strip your name off everything, all identifying information, and we'll just take the data that we are looking for. Like they really don't care that Ben is working out none of the time and eating all the junk food, and like they don't care who's doing it. They just want the data. What are they doing at what time?
In the ideal world, yes.
Have you ever found companies that kind of aren't stripping personal identifications?
So what's happening at certain companies, and this is going to vary widely from one company to the next, is that some organizations realize that the more information that they get, the more attractive they're going to be to hackers. And for that reason, they only want to collect a certain type of data that's going to help pursue their particular business objectives. Other organizations are somewhat the opposite, and they think, let's collect all the data and figure out later what to do with it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is driven by business needs. Maybe there's a future business opportunity. They can't even formulate an idea of what it would be right now, but once you have the data, you can backtrack towards that idea. So I can't necessarily say firsthand whether there's a uniform a generalized attitude from one company to the next. It varies from one company to the next.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Where they could be collecting data because I always thought that if a company is big enough to be extracting data from large sources, they would just be looking for a very target set of data. But I guess that's something I hadn't really thought about. Where if they collect more data, even data that they don't need, they could always go back and say, who would like this data? X company. Maybe they'll
Right.
maybe they'll buy it from us. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, data's valuable, even if you don't know why yet.
So we've been talking about consumers and and all the different things, but what about businesses? I mean, they actually have a different set of issues, right? That a general consumer or a private individual might have. I mean, what should businesses consider, when it comes to protecting themselves?
You're right. Businesses are going to have a slightly different defense profile. They're going to attract different adversaries for different reasons. A way to think about some of the significant differences are things such as that a business will always have certain types of data. At least in the US, a business somewhere will have social security numbers, home addresses, names, phone numbers, employment records. They will have salary information. They'll have sensitive business intelligence such as strategy, business plans, email communication. They'll have intellectual property. Each of those items will be attractive to different adversaries for different reasons. And modern adversaries, they're incredibly smart. Hackers today are not what Hollywood or popular culture portrays them as. They're not the guy who lives in his mom's basement. They're sophisticated, well-funded organizations.
You blew that image for me. That's what I thought. Gee, thanks.
I suppose there are still some maybe that are like that.
Just covered in Cheeto dust, hasn't seen the sun in a while. All that. No.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they're very sophisticated organizations, and what they'll do is before they perform any type of attack, they will actually profile their potential victims, and they'll try to get a sense for the kinds of things that victim does or doesn't do. They'll make some assumptions based on the size of the company, the type of business that the company's in, etc. And that's how they'll go about performing the information gathering phase before they then go deploy the attack.
Well, aren't businesses, a bigger target? For hackers, they're going to get a lot more. A private individual doesn't have social security numbers and doesn't have an employee record. I would think that a business is a richer target for hacking. Go ahead.
Businesses, in my opinion, well, it depends really on the adversary and what they're trying to accomplish, but businesses probably are, at first glance, a more attractive target for all of those reasons. But that's not to say that consumer products would not be interesting, because what an adversary would be able to do to attack consumers would be to attack a particular type of device, and then those devices get sold now however many millions of units, and they know that if they've compromised, or if they can compromise that type of device, the victim is highly unlikely to have made any significant changes to protect it once it's deployed. Another really key difference about businesses and what businesses can bring to the fight differently is that businesses should have some sort of budget to account for their security risk in a way that an individual consumer most likely does not. And businesses have the opportunity to build out their threat models, to think more about those types of adversaries who are coming after the assets that are known to be in possession of that business, and to defend accordingly by allocating resources.
Okay.
We've shown that places that you would expect to have pretty good security aren't even aren't impervious to attacking attacks. There was that huge one that the government just was just a victim to. And at the end of the day, it wasn't. Yes, the government was hacked, but it wasn't some unknown agency lost all their paperwork. No, it was average people who had all their private information stolen. So it's not, these companies can get hacked, but at the end of the day, they're not just hacking the company. It always trickles down to the consumer.
You're right. The two are inextricably linked. One story I always like to relate to is what happened with Target. So obviously Target was hacked about a year and a half ago. They lost 40 million credit cards of individual consumers, plus an additional 70 million records of their customer accounts. So how did that happen? Well, Target, who's a massive company and definitely has resources to address some of its security challenges, had not actually performed any sort of security assessment of some of its vendors. And in particular, one of the vendors was who the adversaries targeted. So the point of compromise was actually by attacking the company that manages the air conditioning systems for the Target stores. That was how they eventually were able to steal credit card numbers. Those vendors aren't related at all. That vendor doesn't get involved with the point of sale systems, but the adversaries were able to get over there and then ultimately hurt the consumer. So a business decision that Target made, meaning to not focus on this particular exposure point, resulted in harm to Target's own customers.
And you wouldn't
Crazy.
think that. I mean, how would air conditioning, do with credit card and customer information? What was the link?
Yeah, the attack was really interesting, actually, and the way that it worked was the adversaries targeted this particular vendor through a spear phishing campaign. We've probably all gotten those emails from some funky-looking source, right, with a link in it, and they clicked on it. And what winds up happening was this vendor had legitimate remote access to Target's environment because they needed to monitor energy usage in the stores, make sure they were neither too hot nor too cold, that they weren't wasting a ton of energy at night and obviously costing the store money, things like that. So they had legitimate remote access. The adversary was able to compromise that through the spear phishing campaign and then take advantage of improperly segmented networks to get from that maintenance environment over to the point of sale environment, install some malware that then extracted all the credit card information.
It's really is it's amazing what they can do. But the thing is that they got, I mean, I don't know if they got caught, but they were detected, but I guess they were detected, it was too late.
Yeah, there was definitely a failure during the exfiltration. Target had just invested, I believe the number was $1.5 million on this super high-end piece of equipment that basically was in place to set off alarm bells if data was getting stolen out of the network it shouldn't have, and it operated the way it was supposed to. Unfortunately, the team that was operating it and then reporting it to other teams to make decisions, that whole chain failed, and so the product worked, but the reaction to the product failed, and so it was over the course of about 3 weeks that all of these credit cards were stolen.
I guess all that is true. Is like you can make everything as secure as possible, but especially for companies, the weakest point of security is always going to be the people working there. If they find a USB drive sitting on the ground, well, they might pick it up, put it, slap it in the company computer and see what's on it. You can make all these programs, you can make all these meetings, but at the end of the day, all it takes is one secretary, one board office worker to click the wrong link, and it all kind of goes sideways.
You are right. The actual people are definitely a weak part in the chain, but there are things that organizations can do to defend against them, as long as you understand who the different types of people are. Some people are accidental insiders, like what you talked about. They stick in a thumb drive or click a link, and some people are malicious. They join the organization to hurt the organization, and you defend against those different insiders differently because they operate differently.
So you've even thought about that as far as that goes, where that's that's not dealing with lines of code and technology and security holes. That's starting to get into sociology.
Human engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I always, when I'm speaking in front of an audience, I'm always curious to poll the audience and say, show of hands, who here is in security? Or who has at least a part of your job responsibility is security? And depending on the conference, obviously there's more hands at a security conference and fewer hands at a more typical business conference, but it's never all of the hands. And that's when I always challenge the audience to say security is actually everybody's job. And that's part of and you guys just touched on it, that security really is about group dynamics within an organization. It's about understanding what the people around you are doing, understanding what you yourself are doing, understanding how the compromise of certain assets hurts the company, hurts the businesses or consumers that the company serves, and understanding that whole chain that the average person might not think about until someone helps explain it for them.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And I guess to bring it back around to the consumer side, that doesn't just end when you get off work. Everyone at the end of the day, yes, manufacturers should be putting in better tighter security on devices before you even open the box or make the purchase. But security really should be at least of some concern to the everyday person.
Yes. I think the everyday person, there's some basics that the average consumer can do that you've heard this advice before, but whether or not you've rolled it out is always the question. But it's things like be diligent. Don't click links that look a little sketchy. I mean, even when my wife sends me emails with a link in it, if there's no context, before I click it, I'll respond and say, hey, is this legit? What's it about? She's like, I want you to buy me this. Be careful about attachments that you open. Don't stick those thumb drives in that you found. Even though you're coming from all the right place, you see this thumb drive, you think, oh, someone's resume is on here, and they're gonna be missing this. So I'm gonna stick it in, find out where they live, and give it back to them. No, just it's gone. That person, they'll have a backup somewhere.
It blows my mind that your wife knows what you do for a living, and yet she'll still send you an email with just a link in it.
Exactly.
You say, no, she said a little preface, hi, this is your loving wife, and I want you to buy me this, and then with the link in.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. Why don't we talk a little bit about where do we go from here? I mean, what's the if I'm a consumer or if I'm a business, should they go to ISE or I mean, what's the gateway, I guess, to you or how you interact with you?
So if you're a consumer, my first recommendation would be to educate yourself a little bit on the implications of these various things that we've talked about today. Think about good password policies, implement them at your house. I know that it's a pain to have multiple different passwords, but there are really practical strategies for how you can protect yourself, and just understand the risk that you're taking when you're, say, buying that connected door lock or that connected webcam or whatever it might be. For businesses, those of you that have digital assets that are worth protecting and you have adversaries who would want to attack you, give us a call. We can certainly help walk you through what your threat model might need to look like, and if it's the right fit for our area of expertise, we'd be happy to help. And if we're not the right people, we can certainly send you to organizations that can help. But certainly all businesses should consider to some extent who's attacking them and why.
Well, what is something like if I'm a business, what can I expect to pay? I mean, what do you charge for your services, Ted?
Well, our company, it depends entirely on the scope of the system. So, and I'm not trying to evade the question. It's such a wide range that the range is ultimately useless.
You don't have a $9.95, for the first.
No, we do not have that. There's no coupons.
No coupons. Okay. Okay. All right. So then, what is it like?
So everything's made to custom order.
Yes, it's all. So a way to think about this is. every system that's built is unique to a certain extent. Many systems are similar, but every system is like a snowflake. You know, it has its own unique characteristics. And for that reason, how you go about attacking it or how you consider it from a security perspective makes it so different from one system to the next that I couldn't even give a ballpark.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you can't even go ballpark. I mean, can you give me a range of what a company might?
If you can't ballpark it, can you like ballpark it?
Can you ballpark it? I mean, just give me just a general. I mean, what do companies expect? I mean, they budget for, okay, we're going to spend $100,000 for this year for security, for cybersecurity. I mean, they put it. I mean, how much should a company expect to pay for security? I mean, what's reasonable?
Got it. Okay, so that's a slightly different question. So, security assessments, which is our corner of the world, is part of the overall puzzle, which is also, you also have people and technologies and training and all that stuff. In all cases, companies are not spending enough that we've seen. And part of our assessment at the conclusion of it is not only here are the vulnerabilities that we found and here's how to fix them, but also, well, I guess it depends on case by case, but in most cases, the recommendation is also these are the other things you need to do. You need to have this type of skill set in-house. You need to have this type of training. You need to have these types of products that you don't have. We don't ever recommend a particular product name, but we'll say these are the types of things, types of solutions that you need. And every single one of those things is a spend, even though that spend's not on us. So what we find is that the security assessment piece of that overall puzzle is such a small number of it. It's depending on the scope, you're talking 1 to 10%. And companies that are their overall security budget, which is always way, way, way too small, from small companies, it's in the, couldn't even guess, maybe the 5 to 6 figures, and in large companies, you're 8, 9 figures. But it, again, depends entirely on the company and the assets they have to protect and how much they take it seriously.
And how long have you been doing this, Ted, now?
10 years.
So in your entire history of 10 years or with the company and everything, have you ever gone to a company and done an assessment and said, you guys are secure, you don't need us? Has that ever happened to you?
We have actually never not found issues. There have certainly been systems that have been much better engineered than others. They're more rare than others. They're more rare, I should say, than systems that have a wide range of issues. But no, there has not been an occasion where I haven't found a single issue. And that's to be expected. That's not me trying to pat my own back and say that we're so great or try to belittle anybody else and say that, hey, you who built this product, you're not great. But that's the nature of software development or any type of development, is humans build it and humans make mistakes. And that's why you need an organization who breaks things to come look at it, and through no fault of your own, you might have introduced an error, and that's where an organization like ours can help solve that problem.
And once you've quote-unquote solved that problem, can that company rest on those laurels and say, okay, well, we're protected, or is it always, it's a dynamic process? There's always going to be something you have to keep coming back?
It's absolutely an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Just like development is an iterative process, so is security. So the correlation between functionality and attack surface is very closely related. So as you work on and build and improve functionality, it's introducing new ways for attackers to attack. And so even within components that have already been very well hardened against attack, as they change or as attackers invent new techniques or new tools are put on the market, that attack scenario changes. So over time, they evolve.
All right. Well, Ted, listen, I want to thank you for being with us again. SecurityEvaluators.com, or just head over to ComputerAmerica.com. We have a link to the website. Again, Ted Harrington. Ted, I want to thank you for being here with us tonight on the show. Very enlightening, and thanks for being here with us tonight.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
It was fun. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. All right, there you go, independent security evaluators. Ted Harrington, certainly something to think about. And here on the show.
Something that people don't think about often enough, which is, again, security.
Yeah, exactly. And they really do need.
Except for that guy. That guy thinks about it all the time. 9 to 5. I guess that's what he thinks about.
All right, we're at the top of the hour, and we're going to take a little break. And then when we come back, we've got a lot of great stories, computer and technology news brought to you by SlimWare Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. And we also have our contest to talk about and some interesting stories. It's all coming up. Another News Tips Bulls review, brand new one from Marty Winston. It's all happening here on Computer America. Don't go anywhere. Stay right here with us.
What are you doing right now? Listening to a radio show, right? And why? It could be because you get to hear about new things, get more information about them than you do in typical drive-by coverage. And the way you get to hear about them is fun. That's why I like Computer America, and it's why I think you'll like the Monday through Friday hour-long Bell Ringers show when it debuts on nationwide radio on August 31st. Each show has 4 in-depth reports on some brand new product or service you never heard about before. They also send releases to traditional online and social media to help those debuts make news from a show that's always newer than news. And that's going to be news to anybody you know who's planning their own new launch. So please be their hero and ours by getting them to take a look at bellringersmedia.com. That's BELLRINGERSMEDIA.com. See, that's our challenge. We don't yet have a Bell Ringers out there to help us debut Bell Ringers, but they will. Ask them to hurry. September segments are booking now.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And again, we just had independent security evaluators on, Ted Harrington, executive partner with that company, talking about security. I thought it was very interesting, very enlightening. If you missed any portion of it, you can listen to it again. We archive all of our shows at our website at computeramerica.com. Just head over to computeramerica.com. You'll see all of the, under the Interact pull-down menu, we have archives. We have the archive, and under the menu here, it says, under press releases, news, and info, you'll see show archives. It'll show you how to go to the live video stream. We have our own YouTube page. It's all there. And also, while you're there, check out our guest calendar. We've got that up and running. It's pretty darn good now. You can see who's going to be in the show for the entire month. Actually, for the next couple of months coming up, you can see who's scheduled. You can even see past shows as well. It's turning out to be extremely interactive, and we encourage you to check out the guest calendar. We have it up there for your edification. So that's all there. Everything that we do at Computer America is at our website at computeramerica.com. We also have our contests. Our social media contests are up there as well. I could say we just had our new winner here for the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse, and we had that. Actually, the person who won that this past week was Selena Nil, and she was already contacted by Logitech, and she sent a letter, an email, not only to Logitech, but she carboned me as well, and she was very excited about the fact that she won. It was just, she only said like 2 words. She said what she said. She said, "That's awesome." So she was very happy.
Lady, a few words, but that's okay. You're not there to give a speech. You're not there to impress anyone with your linguistic abilities. You are there to
win.
Hey, just have fun and win.
Yeah, exactly. So congratulations to you, Selena. And we'll continue on. We have another one to give away this Friday again. We're giving that incredible mouse away from Logitech. It's our social media contest. You can see it at our social media page at computeramerica.com. Just now, I didn't get the opportunity to put some of that new free software. I need to update that. Maybe this week we'll put some of the new things that we found free software page. Okay.
With help from Ralph Bond from last Friday.
That's right. Exactly. He had a couple of really great suggestions. I just need. It was kind of a crazy weekend, but I will add them to the website. They were very good suggestions. All right. Anything else before we get into the news portion of the show?
No. It should be a good news segment. We have lots of stuff, ranging from some sad announcements to some awesome movie trailers to just general what's going on in the tech world. So no, I'm just looking forward to it.
Well, let's do it. Okay. All right. Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by SlimWare Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at slimwareutilities.com is completely free. Download them all. Why not? They're free. They're wonderful. They truly will speed up, clean, and optimize your Windows system, and you'll be happy that you did it, and you'll thank us for it. SlimWareUtilities.com. And why don't you lead off with the first news story, Ben, tonight?
Sure. Well, the first one should be of no surprise to anyone. I'm sure you've heard it from other sources so far. And again, we'll be covering this in more detail tomorrow night on a Gamer Tuesday. But it's sad to hear, and it's definitely worth being the first story that we do tonight on tonight's show, and that is Nintendo's president and CEO Satoru Iwata unfortunately passed away this past Saturday.
He's a young-looking guy too, like at 55.
55.
That's
not old.
No, way too young.
Not old. Unfortunately, he died as a result of bile duct growth, which is a very, which is a side effect of a very, very aggressive form of cancer. This isn't out of the blue per se. Like he did have a surgery for it last year, and he was said to be in recovering health. But like his death, really, just 2 days ago, was a complete shock. I don't think anyone saw that one coming, and to hear about it is just awful. Like, it's not just sad to hear about a CEO, of Nintendo, because Nintendo is a very much beloved company, but it's also because he was such a big part of the whole culture of video games.
Yeah.
He joined Nintendo back in 2000, and at the age of 42, he became the president of the company in 2002.
He was he was a programmer, right? He did some incredible things for them.
He was a programmer by heart. He loved making video games. I mean, when we talk about the CEO of Nintendo, back in the early days, he would, as the president of the company, he would actually sit down and rewrite, tons and tons of code, actually transcribed an entire game, Pokemon Stadium, by himself over a couple of weeks. What took and failed a couple people to do in a year. He was able to do in a couple weeks. Like, this guy loved what he did, and he did it very, very well.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean, a couple of weeks, what staff couldn't do in a year.
Yeah, to do, because he had to fit an entire game on an old Nintendo 64 cartridge, and he was able to do that in about 2 weeks, whereas a team took an entire year and couldn't get it done. And his accolades. Of course, Nintendo has been incredibly successful under his watch, and companies over in Japan, they don't just switch CEOs. Like it's here in America, whenever a company switches CEOs, Windows has done it, I think, like 3 times in the past 5-6 years. You just switch CEOs whenever you want a new face for the company, or a new or some new ideas or new direction. Not so much. Nintendo was really behind this guy, and he really drove Nintendo to be what it was today.
Now, what I didn't know is that he was against mobile. Apple.
Well, yeah, he was of course the president, and Nintendo has traditionally been against mobile because they have such a large stake in their 3DS and their Game Boy,
Right.
their all their handheld sets. So
Right.
they're obviously very much against cell phones being a medium because that edges in completely. But they did change that recently, but still, just kind of focusing back on Mr. Iwata, he did so much for for gamers everywhere. It's kind of a shock, just to see someone who is so bright and do so much for really for a lot of people, see him just go in the course of a weekend. Like even if you didn't know exactly who he was, you've played one of his games. He has he's worked directly with some of those popular games in video game history, and it's Nintendo's going to be okay, and I think the gaming industry in general is going to be okay. It's just one of the greats.
Yeah, they said that Nintendo of America is taking a day of silence across all social media outlets,
Mm-hmm.
and at the headquarters, the flags have been lowered at half-mast, and even the PlayStation Twitter account thanks Iwata for everything he's done. Too.
Oh yeah, no. Pretty much every video game outlet has left some kind of message, sympathizing with Nintendo and the family, because he he made a big difference, not just in Nintendo, but for a lot of people.
Yeah. 55. Boy.
55, and it's it sucks, but
oh well.
Nintendo's going to be around. It's and I think he's left a good legacy. So it's still expect great things from Nintendo, and I'm sure he's doing his own thing on Rainbow Road probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move along then to this next story. This is from Maximum PC. Paul Lilly did a survey that finds that the majority of internet users are sick of passwords. There's someone has a sign up here. It says, "I changed all my passwords to incorrect. So whenever I forget it, it will tell me that your password is incorrect." Okay, I guess that would work, wouldn't it? If even password is incorrect.
Seems like a horrible idea from a security standpoint.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, the article goes on to say that easy to guess passwords like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and password is obviously not a good thing. But there is he said there's a new survey called by Accenture Research. They polled like 24,000 people over like a half a dozen continents and about their feelings toward passwords.
Half a dozen? You know what that means, right?
What?
That means Antarctica was not included.
No, they left.
I don't know if we can.
No.
I don't know if we can count the survey anymore.
No. What about Antarctica?
Yeah.
And Antarctica. Okay, both poles, they left them out. And you would think the best place to have a poll would be at the poles.
Exactly, and they left them out. Tragic.
Yeah, tragic. I mean, what's going on? All right. Anyway, they said some 60% said that they find usernames and passwords to be cumbersome. Well, no fooling. I mean, have you ever gone and says, "Hey, what do you think of passwords?" Oh, that's okay. I don't mind. And more than 3/4, that's 77% to be exact, said they're interested in alternatives to passwords. So maybe biometrics. They're looking for some other way. I mean, let's face it. I didn't use a password with my iPhone until Touch ID came out, and then I did it because it's so non-invasive. You just push the button. I don't do anything different than pushing the button, but it's reading my fingerprint. So I don't
follow Craig's example and definitely lock up all your phones and devices with passwords. But no, they actually have a sample of the questions that they asked.
Okay, and
down below.
Yeah. It says, okay, what are some of the questions here? Oh,
it said the first one would be, I would be interested in an alternative to usernames and passwords to protect my security on the internet. I think that's a dead giveaway. People are tired of usernames and passwords.
Yep.
You have to enter one for every single flipping website you go to, except Computer America. We make it easy. But, every website seems to want you to have login credentials. That can get tiresome, and obviously 77% of people can't agree more.
Yeah.
They said that, again, 60% of people said that usernames and passwords were cumbersome. In the next 12 months, I am interested in using a uniquely encoded chip in my phone or computer to protect my security and privacy on the internet. That's again 59%. I guess that would be some kind of unique identifier that if you aren't logging on a device with that unique, barcode or serial number or what have you, then you can't log in, in any other form. It would take out the username and password because you would already be authenticated just by using the device you are using.
I'm curious what our first hour guest, Ted Harrington, would have said about this.
I'm sure he would have been for it. This is evolution of security, but I'm sure, obviously allowing one device to have all of your login credentials would be, dangerous in its own.
But I think biometrics is going to be an eventual answer. Something where you don't have to remember your password. You just have a fingerprint reader or something.
Yeah, that was actually the next question was, in the next 12 months, I am interested in using biometrics to protect my security and privacy on the internet. And again, 58% said yes.
Why only 58? You would think of the 70 is the 7 of that's of the 77% who said they were tired of it.
No. The 77% is to each question individually. Okay. Obviously, going by decreasing rank because people who would be for using a for people who think that usernames and passwords are cumbersome. Not all of those, of course, think that a unique chip is the answer to it. So, it's just going by a decreasing order. But, a lot of people still aren't sure about the whole, finger, voice, eye scan, retina scan, what have you. They've seen too many, Mission Impossible, James Bond movies and say, that's not safe. Someone's going to rip my eyeball out and there you go. They can get into my phone. Hollywood obviously does have an impact on people's perceptions.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that that biometrics is a good thing? You have it on your iPhone. You don't use it. You just type your PIN.
No, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, I use it, but
I know, but you use it weird.
How do I use it weird? That's how
you use your pointer finger.
I also use my thumb.
Yeah, but you never use your thumb. Use your pointer finger.
Well, I'm holding it in my left hand, so then it makes sense to push it with my finger rather than.
No, look. For anyone watching the video here, you take your phone and you hold it just like this, and then you press your thumb and press the home button.
Yeah.
And it logs itself in.
Yeah, I can do that too. I do that.
It logs itself in. Not a big deal. But anyways, no, biometrics are good. It's obviously going to be a very, very important step in security today. But I think in the future, things are just going to know, that you are you, and devices are getting smarter and smarter. Everything's getting smarter. So of course, smart connected devices are going to follow that trend.
Well, they had, I think, for example, facial recognition, and they said people were holding up pictures of other people, but now that doesn't work anymore because
Although it can work.
Huh?
No, there's always ways around the systems. I'm not saying that anything around today is perfect. But 10, 15 years from now, there's going to be something that it's maybe it has little sensors all over the phone, and just your skin cells unlock it or something. I don't know. They're going to have something that is easy, non-invasive, and very, very secure. Right. And you mix those factors together, you have a winning combination.
There you go. All right. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's that story. How about this one? This one is something I think everyone's been waiting for. Oh, but Comcast. Candid moment here. How do I put this? You missed the mark, buddy.
Yeah.
You missed the mark. And okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, Comcast made a promise that by mid 2016, late 2016, they would roll out across the country a 2 gigabit per second internet
Wow.
to all of their customers.
Hmm.
Or 99%, whatever they said. Anyways, the majority of their customers would have access to a 2 gig plan. This is, of course, on the heels of everyone raining down praise, just falling over themselves over Google's fiber network, and a couple other services are providing fiber for very, very cheap. And Comcast said, we can do it better. We'll go 2 gigs. And tell everyone to stick it wherever it is people stick things. And well, they just released a pricing structure for Comcast 2 gigs service.
Okay.
And I don't know what you're paying. Maybe you use Comcast in a place where only Comcast is available, but odds are you aren't going to be able or willing, one of those two, to pay what Comcast has proposed the 2 gig service is going to cost. $300 a month. $300 a month.
Wow.
And that's only the beginning. Because you're also on the hook for a $500 installation fee and another $500 activation fee.
Good.
And then, tack on taxes, equipment, and other fees, you're looking at about $1,300 just to start your $300 per month service.
Ooh. That's
crazy.
very
So once you swallow that pill, consider, and again, I'm pulling this information from Max and PC, Paul Lilly, and this is just ridiculous. So once you swallow that pill, consider that a minimum 2-year service agreement is required. And of course, early termination does apply. And it doesn't say, but if the company's, going by their 505 megabits per second plan were any indication, you're looking at just over $1,000 if you have any reason to terminate early. These prices, like when you start getting into 4 digits for internet service,
wow.
and that's just fees, like that's not even like the service itself, and then you start talking about $300, I think, and that has to be somewhere close to 5 to 6 times what most reasonable people are paying for their internet. Yes, 2 gigs is very fast, and I would love to have it, but I know of few to no people who would be willing to pay $1,600 for the first month of 2 gig internet. That's probably more expensive than some business plans.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Did they say what the upload speed is for this thing?
No, the upload, if it's anything like Google Fiber is 1 gig down, 1 gig up. So hopefully, Comcast rivals it with 2 gigs down, 2 gigs up. I can't imagine a 2 gig bit service having a 2 gig download with a 6 megabytes per second upload, or something ridiculous like that. But hey, if you don't want to shell out the very expensive pockets it takes to do this, they said Comcast has a promotional rate of $160 per month for early adopters and for who sign up for a 2-year deal at $160 a month. Crazy.
I mean, if I was paying $300 a month for internet service and my service wasn't working fine, I would want I would call the service people on. They better bring chocolates and coffee and just I would want the same kind of service, technical service. For
$300, and yes, they do have a 1 gig service for $150 a month, which is also a promotional rate. So after whatever your 2-year contract is, that's going to shoot up as well. It's just these prices that they're talking about, no one's going to want to pay that.
And evidently, the Gig Pro service is being in select parts of Florida, Georgia.
Yeah, but I mean, let's see. I believe Google Fiber, you sign up for that one, and it's I want to say about $80 a month for 1 gig service. Yeah. Like that like the speeds I think are comparable. The prices though are out of this world. Like they're not even competitive.
No.
But again, this is a case where Comcast is going to have all the cards, because if you want this, I'm sure in most of the places where they roll this 2 gig service out, they're going to be the only game in town with those kinds of speeds. So it's either us or go back to the Stone Age and enjoy your 30 megabits a second.
I called them to see they don't have it here in this area. I want the price. They wouldn't do it. It's not available here yet. Oh well. 2 gigs up and 2 gigs down, but $300 a month. Oh,
I don't know who's paying that.
no, certainly not us, because we're not doing that. Well, let's continue on. As we roll closer to July 29th, again, according to Maximum PC, Paul Lilly, Microsoft's to focus on fans for Windows 10's global launch. Okay.
See, I didn't know they were going to put the new Windows 10 on fans. That's startling. I thought they were pretty, binary.
Yeah, no, they're going to do that. Well, I don't know if you remember, when Windows 7 came out, Microsoft tapped customers to host parties for the Windows 7. But and then if you did that, you get a special signature edition of Windows Ultimate. But evidently, according to Paul Lilly, he says no incentive is needed for Windows 10 as Microsoft is handing out upgrades like Halloween candy for free. Okay. Though it says, it still wants fans to be a part of the launch process. So they're going to be doing this in 13 cities, including Sydney, Tokyo, Singapore, Beijing, Dubai, Berlin, and New York City. Okay. The celebration, is this going to be like, the Rockin' New Year's Eve? We'll get to see,
what bands play and the ball drop and all that kind of thing.
Anderson Cooper, and one end,
Kathy Griffin.
Yeah,
Kathy Griffith.
Yeah, doing this for the Windows launch. It sounds like this. But
no, they said that they'll have hands-on opportunities, product demos, entertainment. Entertainment, I'm sure this can be like bands and things like that for wherever these events are being hosted, and opportunities to meet the Windows team, because who doesn't want to meet the people writing the code behind your operating system? Like those are nice celebrities.
Yeah, exactly. This is gonna be happening, this launch, in over 110 stores in the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. So if you want to go to a store, and also in select Microsoft stores, as I said, they'll have Windows 10 pop-up demo experiences, prizes, giveaways, and more. There'll be an answer desk services and free in-store workshops. So that's all happening. So it's going to be a very splashy event. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Anderson Cooper and Kathy Lee, Griffin, hosting.
No, they're not going.
No, they aren't going to go. Okay.
No.
And then we can watch the Windows 7 ball drop and it becomes Windows 10, or something, or Windows 8 ball, something. Or what? No. All right. It would have been a cute idea. Anyway, now, according to the story, it's also the last version of Windows, right? So there's no more interim versions. Okay. Now, Microsoft will use a Windows as a service model and dole out ongoing dates and feature upgrades as needed. Okay. Now let's see. In addition to the celebrations and the extravaganzas, there's going to also be a global advertising campaign that kicks off on the 20th of July. And it's committing to a year-long Upgrade Your World philanthropic initiative for this. So they're partnering with 10 global and 100 non-local with local nonprofits to help them upgrade the world. They're spending a total of $10 million in cash, and it will be made in support of these missions and promote awareness of their causes, according to Microsoft. Okay, so that's it. And all the hoopla, everything begins July 29th. Windows 10 is coming.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. And we're not even talking about the browser, Windows Edge, which is part of Windows 10.
Yeah, I think people are more just excited for the operating system at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of excited about the browser too. I think the browser is going to be cool.
Do you think they'll give you an option to download it on Mac?
No, I'm going to get it. I mean, I'm going to get Windows 10 because it's a part of Parallels. You know.
I know, but do you think, on because I can go get the Safari browser for my PC, I can go get iTunes for my PC.
Yep. iTunes was the only software Apple has ever written for the Windows platform.
Whatever.
So
I'm thinking that if they're going to make Edge a success, they're going to make it available for as many platforms as possible.
Oh, that would be nice. We'll see. Although we got browser, we got Safari, we got Firefox, we got Chrome. You know, I mean, there's
Opera. Come on.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we just have like 30 seconds or a minute. I'll just start this one.
Oh, yeah.
But this next story I want to talk about is Walmart and how they're feeling threatened. Yes, Walmart is feeling threatened of all companies and what they're doing about Amazon's Prime Day. So we'll talk a little bit about what Prime Day is, and then we'll talk about just what Walmart will be doing to combat Amazon on Prime Day.
They have been promoting this.
They've been running like crazy. So,
but that's all coming up. All right, we're at the bottom of the hour. We've got another News Tips Polls review from Marty Winston. He's going to talk about the Little Giant Air Wing. All right, Ben and I will be right back with more computer technology news brought to you by SlimWare Utilities. We will be right back. Stay with us.
This is a commercial, so okay, some of you can take a minute for a bathroom break, but if you're in marketing at a company or an agency and you're launching a new product or new service anytime on or after August 31st, this is important. Take a look at bellringersmedia.com. It's a game changer. I'll kill a few seconds so you can grab something to write down that URL. SlashGear, same-day guaranteed full coverage on a top 5 online news site. Business Wire, PR Newswire, and PR web releases to traditional and online and social media. Full segment coverage on our nationwide radio show over so many stations that more than 50 million people can tune us in. Plus an annual production budget of more than $10 million. So you know it's going to be more polished and higher energy than anything else on radio. Ready for that URL? It's bellringersmedia.com. That's bellringersmedia.com. But hurry, September segments are booking now.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
And that's how Cold Fusion works. Oh, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the Little Giant Air Wing. If we were born 2 feet taller, it'd be easier to reach up high for all the lighting gizmos we test, the access points, the home control gadgets, you name it. If we were born half a lifetime later, we might feel a little less wobbly climbing ladders these days. Since we're not about to be reborn, we got in the Little Giant Air Wing 4-foot ladder for review. The whole ladder folds flat to about 2 inches, but unfolds to a unique 2-foot stepladder configuration that's overall more than 4 feet tall and can hold 375 pounds. From the ground up, it has non-slip rubber feet, a non-slip tread on its 4.5-inch bottom rung, a 12-inch by 14-inch platform at its highest stand-on level, about 2 feet up. Then the side rails continue another couple of feet to a top crosspiece. Lean on it as a belly or butt bar to feel more stable. The crosspiece has a tray to hold tools or hardware, and underneath on each side, a hole that can hold, for example, a screwdriver. Bottom line, Little Giant Air Wing 4-foot ladders give you a little extra height, right, and absent any fright. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. First hour, we had independent security, ISE. Wow, I'm completely blanking on the name. 1 second, I got this. Independent Security Evaluators.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, and I think that was a really cool interview. You should go check them out. A lot of great tips for consumers and businesses alike. How to keep yourself safe, what the Internet of Things means to you, and we covered a lot of that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But here in the second hour, we have time for computer and technology news brought to you by SlimWare Utilities. And we're just about to jump into this story about Walmart and what they're doing in response to this weird notion of an Amazon Prime Day. So I guess we should start off with anyone who hasn't been watching TV and been under a rock for the past 2 weeks. Amazon Prime Day. Amazon Prime Day is a special sale only available to Amazon Prime members. So obviously Amazon wants you to, be very much invested in their ecosystem by signing for Amazon Prime. $79 a year, I want to say.
Yeah.
And if you are a member, you get access to a bunch of special deals.
How many people can be on your Prime account? You can have up to what, 3 people?
Well, it's just these deals are available to anyone with a Prime account. So it's not so much people. It's not like a Netflix account where you can have 3 unique users.
Mm-hmm.
They just assume that there's one person using it.
Got
So
it.
I mean,
all right.
Don't ask, don't tell. Anyways, so yeah, if you have Amazon Prime, you can still sign up for it today. This whole thing goes down July 15th. So in about another 2 days, all this goes into effect. And again, it's one day only. Think Black Friday, but for Amazon, where they're really pushing the Cyber Monday kind of deal. But they don't want to wait for Black Friday anymore. They wanted to try to push it and see how impressive they could be all on their own without attached to any old stigma to buying your gifts during the holidays. So if you're a Prime member, access all these deals, blah blah blah, good for you. Well, Walmart, they are the quintessential brick and mortar. Like really, their online stuff. The only time I ever go to Walmart.com is to see if they have something in stock at my local Walmart. There are not many things that I order from Walmart.com, but I guess they're trying to change that. They're trying to challenge Amazon on this most auspicious day. They're saying that according to USA Today, that's this month over 2,000 web exclusive rollback deals are expected to be available across multiple categories, including baby, home, and home products, as well as electronics and toys. So over 2,000 deals over the course of the month, where I guess you just log into Walmart.com and find these severely reduced products available only at Walmart.com.
So Prime Day is going to be one day, where Walmart's doing it for a whole month. Is that it?
Yeah, I don't think Walmart has the traffic that Amazon has. I mean, Amazon has to have a high amount of traffic, and especially with people with a Prime account, they're already going to be listening because hey, you want to get the most out of that $80 that you spent. They're already going to be tuned into this whole thing. Where
Sure.
I think Walmart, on the other hand, no one signed up at Walmart.com.
Nope.
So they're going to do it over the course of the month, but they want to challenge Amazon in this odd kind of area where there might be a there might be a little fight between Walmart and Amazon. And of course, Walmart, if you are so lucky to find a product that is the same as available on Amazon, Walmart has a price matching solution at all their brick and mortar stores. So you find it on Amazon, you show them the price, and you can walk out the door for the same price at Walmart. So they're trying a lot of things to get to get more to get those consumers back from the clutches of Amazon. I'm not sure how well that's going to work. I mean, I'm skeptical in general of Prime Day. Like, that just seems like a weird time to have a giant sale. And for Walmart to say, hey, we're going to try to challenge that, I'm also skeptical that Walmart has anything to do with this. So, check it out. If you're in the market for a new TV or, a new toaster, whatever it may be, hey, if you're an Amazon Prime member already, go check it out. It can't hurt. I think the real thrust of this Prime Day thing isn't so much to get people to buy products and Amazon ships them out to you. I think the real thrust of this is to get people to sign up for Amazon Prime, because that's where they're going to make a lot of their money. Is that $80 a year that people spend, that's just like Costco, they're selling at a very, very low price margin. So if they get you to sign up that's just money in their pocket that they don't have to pay to anyone. So so Prom Day isn't so much about shipping products; it's more about getting people to sign up for the service.
I'm surprised is that Walmart chose to do this and not Sam's Club, because remember Sam's Club and Walmart, the same same.
Well, obviously Sam's Club kind of did if Walmart did.
Yeah, well, but I don't know. I think they're just talking about Walmart, and let's say that Sam's Club is doing anything.
Well, Sam's Club is Sam's Club is in a different market. That's, hey, if you own a little local restaurant and you need 15 pounds of mayonnaise, like, you're not going to put 15 pounds of mayonnaise on sale.
Yeah, but Sam's Club's got TVs and stuff too. I mean, it's
but those same TVs are available at the same prices at Walmart.
Okay, all right.
And besides, this is online exclusive.
Well, okay.
Deals.
Well, it's Sam's online.
So don't walk into Walmart and look around for these deals over the next 30 days. You have to go online to walmart.com and check out these deals.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get to this next story, and this is again from Maxim PC, Paul Lilly. He says that Google's not content with thwarting 99.9% of Gmail spam. They want to get 100%. Google claims that less than 0.1% of email in the average Gmail inbox is spam. They catch most of it, with the amount of junk mail landing in the spam folder being even lower at 0.05%. So, assuming the claims are right, you would think that's really good, but evidently Google's not happy with that. They want to lower it. They're saying that because they say it's not perfect, so they're going to start implementing some new things. It says part of Google's approach is to reduce the number of false positives, like monthly statements, ticket receipts, those types of things you may want to receive. So to help ensure that these communications get through, rather than going to your spam folder, because that's really bad, Google is launching something called Gmail Postmaster Tools. Okay. Now, this tool basically analyzes your email, including reputation, delivery errors, and basically it'll help them to figure out what's going on.
I gotta say, of all the email services I've used, Gmail has some of the most sophisticated spam blocking. Like I've only ever had to go into my spam filter and fish out a very, very few over the course of the past 7-8 years. Very, very few emails that were not spam. Like there's always a thing, like, even we say it when we used to have like an email newsletter and that kind of thing. Check your spam filter, because sometimes it gets sent in there by accident. Gmail does a very good job of not filtering those and filtering all the complete waste of time emails. So when they say 99%, I think they're doing a great job. There's not many that get through that aren't relevant.
So are you saying that any email sent to you from your brother
right to the spam folder?
Okay. Yeah.
It is amazing what that thing can do.
Okay. Well, anyway, if you have this Gmail Postmaster Tools, it's going to help you, because it has additional buttons that say report spam and not spam buttons, and evidently the Gmail is going to do a better job at recognizing those types of things. So they're almost perfect. They want to be perfect. It'll never be perfect, but something will always get through. But they're getting close.
Yep.
Well, okay. All right.
So with spam out of the way, we'll talk about something a little different. And this is why Comcast is so bad. This one from BGR. And we're just going to focus on another aspect of Comcast, not their outrageous $300 a month internet service, but rather on their brand new their brand new TV streaming package that they call Stream.
Yeah.
Costs $15 a month, and as the author of BGR, let's see, his name is Brad Reed. He points out that it's nearly pointless for $15 a month.
Really?
So for $15 a month, you can stream Comcast, and it will let you stream all the major broadcast networks to HBO over your computer, tablet, smartphone, etc. But there's a catch. You can only do it over your home Wi-Fi network. If you're out on the go, if you're at an airport, if you're sitting around in a car waiting, you cannot stream any of these services.
Does that have to be does it have to be a Wi-Fi network? How about a direct plug-in to the network too? Does it have to be Wi-Fi?
I don't know. Anyways, but this live stream network TV. So here's the question: why do you need to live stream these shows and channels on your devices when, hey, if you're at home anyways and you already have the cable package, why not just flip on a television?
Yeah, really.
With a television, if you have a digital antenna, you can get all of those channels that they're trying to sell you. You can get all those for free, and then you can just go get HBO Go, or HBO Now, which then lets you watch HBO anywhere and everywhere you go, not just at home.
He has a point.
So it's and that was kind of his point, that it's redundant, because it only allows you to use it in a very small space, your own home. And if you're there already, streaming television service, that's been a dream of the cord cutter. And right now, you're not really targeting cord cutters. You're targeting people who just want to watch it on their devices, which those people are fine. You can do that. It's just they're trying to sell it as a competitor to cord cutting services when it is clearly not. I
have a prediction. Okay.
What's that?
I think that Comcast, the people that didn't really think this through, and when they implement it, they're going to realize the era this is, and I think they're going to change it. They're going to say, okay, you don't need to be on your home Wi-Fi.
Okay, so Craig's money is on Comcast realizes they've made a bad business decision and goes back and fixes it. I'm going to be with most other people in the world and say the opposite. Comcast don't care. Comcast do what Comcast want. Comcast will continue. So we'll see which one of those happens.
Okay, we have this recording here, and we'll see what happens. Okay.
Very much so.
Okay. Okay. So what's next here? Oh yes, I know what I wanted to do this. By the way, we had two stories that had talked. We also had the one from Tech Hive that talked about the same thing.
Yeah. We're just gonna skip over that one.
Okay. Ben told me something the other day. He says, I heard his voice come around the corner. He says, Craig. I said, what? He says, the new Batman versus Superman trailer is out. And whoa, right. So
Yeah, this weekend's been a great weekend for trailers for anyone who hasn't missed out because they've been releasing them all at Comic-Con.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't disappoint. If you're looking forward to the sequel to the 2013's Man of Steel, you're going to and it answers a question. It says, why is Batman so PO'd at Superman? And evidently, if you've seen the Man of Steel, you have to remember the city that got leveled. Evidently, Bruce Wayne was there when this happened, and evidently, he destroyed one of the buildings. Was one of the Wayne buildings, the Wayne Towers, and he's hugging this little girl, and that he helped save her. And he's looking at Superman, and he blames him. Says,
well, he
that's the expression in his face.
One of the the building was destroyed. His building was destroyed. Wayne Financial by heat vision.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And who has heat vision? Superman has heat vision. Mm-hmm. But of course, this isn't really a spoiler because it's very obvious who one of the main antagonists in the movie is going to be. Mm-hmm. Is Zod. And Zod also has heat vision.
Zod was the one who destroyed that building with heat vision. He was the one who did it, not Superman.
Yeah. So, but of course, Batman blames Superman because that's who he thinks did it.
Exactly. And it's not. He was actually trying to defend the city from Zod. So.
Yep.
And interesting, Jesse Eisenberg is going to be Lex Luthor, but he's got a full head of hair, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. But at least you get to see that in the trailer, and also you get a brief look at Wonder Woman. You get a brief look at her in the.
She looks amazing on film. Like I wasn't sure because she's been miscast so many times.
Yeah.
Any live action of Wonder Woman is just not good. I'm sorry. There's some have tried. They've just not been good. But they've in the trailer they show Lex Luthor. They show Zod, they show Batman, they show Superman. They even have some references to the Joker. I mean, they're really fleshing it out. The beginning of just like the trailer says, Dawn of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
It's the trailer's still up on YouTube. It has like 24 million hits after only a couple days. Definitely go check it out.
Okay. And the other thing is that it's interesting who they that Jesse Eisenberg. He also, by the way, Jesse Eisenberg also played the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know if there was a coincidence there, but anyway, it's a good trailer, and you haven't watched it yet. It's all over the internet. You should check it out. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And actually jumping from trailer to trailer, the new trailer just came out today. Funny story, they showed an exclusive trailer at Comic-Con that and like this has happened with a couple, mm-hmm. where they show an exclusive trailer only meant for Comic-Con, mm-hmm. and then it gets leaked because what happens when you stick a film, an exclusive in front of a couple hundred people, mm-hmm. with smartphones, one of them is going to record it and it's going to get out. It's just going to happen. And they debuted an early trailer for Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
For anyone who hasn't heard about it, this is the DC universe, and this is all the bad guys from all the other comic franchises. Think the Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadeye, just a ton of bad guys, all form this, this kind of crime fighting gang, mm-hmm. and it has a huge slew of comic book characters that I'm sure you've heard about, and some that you haven't. But it's a new IP. Anyways, they debuted it. Someone filmed it. It's been making the rounds, and instead DC saying, don't watch that. Wait till we release our official one. They said, folks, listen, we don't want you to be disappointed by the low quality, illegal copies out there. We want you to see the high definition one. And today they just released the official high definition trailer a couple weeks before they intended to. So you can go check that out as well.
And what is the name of it again?
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Okay.
And then I think there was one more trailer I wanted to get to that was released. Deadpool.
Oh, okay. That's that.
Deadpool has a trailer. I'm not sure if it's official yet, but at least a leaked version of Deadpool has been released. So that's well into development, and they have some actual screen footage of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Looks very funny.
All right, good. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, terrific actor. Well, what's also notable today is, as we move into the 14th of July, is that the man-made spacecraft that was been out there.
Are there any other kind?
New Horizons is going to fly by Pluto for the first time ever. Okay, it's going to be traveling at 35,000 miles per hour, which is a brisk rate. It's been sending back images of Pluto as it approaches, but these are supposed to be spectacular. It'll only be in the Pluto system for 12 days, but it's going to send back imagery and information that's going to give us a much clearer view of Pluto. And this again, the planet that is no longer a planet, thanks to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who said it wasn't a planet. But I was raised thinking of it as a planet. It's supposed to be. Anyway, they've already started posting pictures of what they're getting from this object, world, planet, whatever you want to call it, from Pluto.
Yep.
And so I thought that was.
Is that like a trans? It was like a trans Kuiper belt something or other object.
What was it now?
I don't know. There's a name for it.
I don't know what that name was.
Well, it's not a planet, but hey, when this satellite was launched, it was a planet, so we're still going to count it as a planet.
Yes, I'll always think of Pluto as a planet.
Yep. So let's see. About another 2 minutes, we have time for a really, really, really short story. We have some that dabble in politics and how Uber will be under fire in the next presidential election because contracting workers is going to be such a hot button issue, as opposed to unionized workers like cab drivers. So that's gonna be there. There was a $200 privacy device that was under development, very high profile, very, very cool, and then poof, out of nowhere, all traces of it have been deleted from the internet, and no one can find any trace of it.
It wants to be private.
Maybe it's just that good at being private. Who knows? But here's a nice little statistic to ride out on, and that is Apple. You may know them. They make smartphones.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Well, it turns out they also make all the money.
Okay.
Apple takes 92% of the total operating income of the world's 8 largest smartphone makers. And, they made 65% of the income back in 2014. Now they make 92%. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is.
That's of course the total operating income, and that just means that Apple is savvy enough, well known enough, and just big enough to actually be able to turn a profit on these smartphones. Because if you look at any of the others, Windows, Androids, what have you, those phones aren't really selling for a profit like Apple can. They're just selling at cost, or maybe even a little below cost, just to get them out in the market.
Yeah. But the 6S is going to be debuting in September, I believe. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you, that pretty much wraps up the show tonight. But I'm very excited about tomorrow night's show because it's our Gamer Tuesday show. Josh Boykin is going to be joining us. He is an editor at large at Pop Zara magazine, and amongst other things that he does. And we're going to be talking about some interesting things. The state of gaming 1 month after E3. Remember, we had Josh out there, and we had Nathan Evans out at the Electronic Entertainment Exposition, big E3. We're also going to talk about the world of Batman, Arkham Knight. Okay, that's going to be interesting, and also the growing connection between games and movies. I mean, it's always been a fascinating discussion, between the computer games and how they're depicted, and movies and how they're depicted, and how they sort of, I don't know if is the game
90 seconds.
Game ever as good as the movie, or is the movie never as good as the game?
It goes either, movies, movie to game releases aren't that good, and game to movie releases aren't that good.
Okay, but
it goes both ways.
It does. Okay, so and also we're going to talk a little bit about Mad Max and the Inside Out mobile game. Okay, and also Lego, The Avengers. That's right. So there it is.
60 seconds.
We're going to be talking about all those tie-ins. That's all that's coming up on the Computer America show. So that about wraps up the program. Again, thank you all for being with us here tonight, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow night with Josh Boykin. He's also with Popstar. He's also with another publication. I can't remember which one or what it is, but I'll look it up. I thought you might know off the top of your head.
Nope.
Okay. Anyway, Ben and I will see you here tomorrow night, same time, same channel. So I should say same bat time and same bat station, since we're going to be talking about Batman.
We'll get more Bat A tomorrow.
All right. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, and again, thanks to everybody here for being here tonight. A lot of fun, and when Ben and I will see you here tomorrow, Gamer Tuesday with Josh Boykin. So good night, everybody. Say good night, Ben.